going on, everyone? Shiva Sapkota here with another Tesla accessory review. What we have here today is the best and most feature-rich instrument cluster display for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y that we have ever reviewed in the channel. This has front bumper camera, Android Auto, Apple Carplay, it shows the blind spot, it shows all the critical car information. It doesn't block as much airflow, it goes on the front steering wheel, so the height is adjustable, and it just comes with so many more features with unique user interfaces. And this is the upgraded version of the TMA's cluster that we reviewed just a couple of months ago. They had promised us with all those upgraded features such as Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, front camera, and they have everything incorporated now, including some of the UI improvements that we have requested. And they delivered on their promise about the retrofit of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you had already purchased this unit and you would like those to be incorporated now, then you have two different options. They are selling you two different parts without needing to do all the wiring and everything. Everything stays intact, but you can swap out two different things. There is a circuit board inside and there is the LCD screen. Now, depending on what you want, so first option is you just swap out the circuit board and they will sell you the circuit board right around, I believe, $95. That's what they have listed on their website, where they only sell you the circuit board. You get that and then you retrofit, and now your existing unit with the same screen, same wiring, everything stays the same. You just swap out the board inside, and now you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But you don't get touch screen because the first generation unit was not touch screen. Now, if you want the touch screen version as well, then what you can do is buy both the circuit board and the touch screen. And that was showing somewhere in the $125 mark last I checked. I don't know what the price is right now, and you should be able to use my discount code for that. And for that price, what you get is both the circuit board and the display screen. And it's super easy to retrofit. I'll show you here in just a second. This display was sent to us free of charge for our installation and evaluation by TMA, Tesla Motor Accessory, but they are not sponsoring this video and they are not paying us to make this video or say anything in the video. It is our 100% honest opinion, and we're going to talk about our likes and dislikes of this device after doing a thorough testing. If you make a purchase using our discount code Shiva Tesla, you should be able to save some money, and in return, we might make a small commission from the sale at no additional cost to you, which helps us grow the channel and bring more products like this in the future. Thank you very much. Let's get started. So here's the new packaging, which is exactly the same as the old packaging. No changes here. You got your front camera connection. You got your connection for the OBD port, depending on what type of car you have, AMD or Intel, and you got your actual unit over here. And we'll talk about the retrofit here in just a second, but just going over the wiring, this blue plug is for the OBD connection. So the cars with AMD chip, that's what you're going to connect to for OBD. This is your power right here for the AMD connection. So all the AMD cars need both of this. This is for OBD, this is for the power, and then if you have an Intel car, all you need is this. This bypasses. The Intel version has power built into that, and the other end just plugs into the actual unit over here. And then the camera plug that connects to the front comes all the way through and connects to this yellow port, and that's it. That is the entire wiring. Pretty simple wiring compared to some of the other units we have installed, and they try to make as less of a wiring as possible, and everything is integrated. So regardless of if you have an AMD or Intel, you just get one wiring harness that includes both of those cars. So for the retrofit, as I said earlier, there is two different options that you get. So if you purchase the unit and you had all the wiring already in place, you don't have to change any of that. You just get a new component, and the component comes with just either the LCD screen or just the circuit board that is inside here. So if you purchase the touch screen, the upgraded touch screen version, then you get this touch screen as well, and then you get the integrated circuit board inside. If you only purchase the circuit board, you don't get the touch screen. You keep your existing screen and just replace the circuit board inside. So to open both of this, there is just this screws in the back, and you just take a small screwdriver. In our case, it's a power screwdriver, and we are going to just remove this panel here in the back. So we're just going to go around, remove all the screws. Now, once you remove this panel over here, that is when you will see the circuit board here and this cable that is connecting to the main screen over here. So this circuit board actually just pops right out. So no issues here. And once you pop this out, there is something that you can just lift, this black spot here. You can just lift this just a little bit, And when you do, as you see, you lifted this up a little bit, then this becomes free. So you can open this. So this little pin over here, that is the locking mechanism. You just lift it just a little bit, then this becomes free. Now that is the circuit board. So if you retrofitted the circuit board only, so you don't get the touch screen but only CarPlay, then you only get this in your mail when you purchase this. So then what you do is you take your new circuit board that looks like this, and if it is not lifted, just make sure that this pin is lifted over here, and then you just insert this cable. This goes to the display, and then you just close this up, and that's it. That's all you need to do to retrofit this. Close this up, put the cover back on. Now if you also ask for the retrofit of the screen, that's when we got to remove these 2 screws to remove the screen. So let me show you how to do that next. You just take your screwdriver and remove this screen here, and then you also remove this screen here. Once you remove both of those screws, you can just push on this pin over here. So I'm going to push this, and then I'm going to push this one a little bit. Then as you see, the screen starts becoming loose. Just be careful, and then there you go. So this is the screen. So it is an integrated screen that just comes right out. Now you would be left with just this bracket, and all the wiring is still intact. Then if you did the replacement of the screen, then you would just bring your new screen, put this here, secure this in place, and then you start putting the circuit boards, everything in place. So if you did both of those upgrades, then it would look like this. You would have the 2 screws, so we would take the 2 screws, put it in here to secure it in place. So screw number 1 is gone. Here is screw number 2, and then find that notch to put it in here. There you go. Then you press this down, and this is secure. Now the very final step is to just fold this so that this round part goes inside. You close this, and then you just slide this in. There you go. Now all we have to do is put this bracket back in, make sure that hole faces this here, and align all the holes in the back. We're good to go. Then we can start putting the screws back on. Since we recently showed you a detailed step-by-step installation guide for this exact same product, and no wiring or any other component had changed since those videos, we'll just link them in the description below. Please check those videos out for detailed installation guide. So when you first open the door, there is a startup animation that it shows here, and it shows the car, and it will say electric. So that's the startup animation, and then you see this car sign over here. This is actually really detailed, of course, and if you open or close your door, so let's say I open my door and it popped up right there. So I didn't close that right. So closed my door and the door closed. So it works for everything. So I open the trunk, and as you see, the trunk opens. So it's really nice that it actually matches quite well with Tesla. So that's what you see. As far as all the settings go, you can control everything using the scroll wheel. So there is a redundancy. Of course, it's a touch screen, but you can also control using the scroll wheel. So to enter the settings mode, you just have to press and hold on this scroll wheel towards the left, and then you enter the settings mode. And then you can go between different setting options by simply turning this knob on the scroll wheel, and you can change different items over here. And that's super easy, but at the same time you can always go and do the touch screen too. So it's really nice that they allow you that option where you can do both. And then while you're turning the scroll wheel, you can go between different menu items over here, and then to make the selection of that menu item, let's say you want to change the theme, all you have to do is select that and then turn this towards the right. So when you do that, as you see, it gives you different menu options, and you can go between different menu items over here. So that's the theme. So we change it between different themes, and then that's how you go between different themes. So that's pretty easy. And then to move away from that menu, you can just press on this towards the left, and it's gone. So super easy. You can make any changes to any of these menu items by simply using the scroll wheel button. And finally, to activate the front camera, you just have to press and hold on this button right here. And just keep in mind that when we do that, it activates voice command. And I've been trying to get them to fix that, but it still isn't fixed. And as you see, the front camera pops up. And then to get rid of that front camera, press towards the left, and you're good to go. So one improvement that they made with this version is that as soon as you put your car into drive and you start driving, the camera pops up. So you don't have to do anything about it. The camera just automatically turns on in low speeds, and they say that this camera goes away at higher speed. Let's try this. Yeah, so as soon as we reach 20 miles per hour, the camera feed just went away on its own. So it will be super helpful. You don't have to press on any buttons or anything. It automatically triggers when you put it in drive and go. So lower speeds, that means you're pulling out of a parking space or you're going into a parking space. It automatically turns on. That means it's easier, it's safer. You don't have to touch any buttons, anything. It's almost like radar triggered on the previous version, but this version just has the camera triggered based on speed. So that's really cool. So that front camera trigger becomes really helpful, especially in situations like this where I'm about to pull into the garage. I have got a bunch of stuff over there, and all I have to do now is put this into drive and then start driving, and the camera triggers. So it already triggered, and now it is showing me the front space. All right, now let's go through all the settings, and they have made a lot of UI improvements here. So super exciting stuff. On the top, you can see all the indicators, so the lights, everything. Towards the left, here's the menu. We'll talk about that here in just a second. There is the range, the battery percentage. This is your energy graph on the very bottom, your odometer, your temperature, and this is the car indicator. As you can see, the lights are turned on, and I'm pressing on the brake. So if I were to let go of the brake, that light would go away. So that's pretty awesome that they even figured that out. And then the light, of course, if I was to go to the light setting on my car and I was to turn it off, as you see, the headlight turns off and headlight turns on. So they did a really good job with that detail, which is really awesome. Then on the middle, you got this large dial with miles per hour speed, and then this is the US speed limit. This is the first company that managed to figure out how to put the US speed limit rather than just having that circle, the European style circle over here. And this is pretty accurate. We'll show you here in the drive in just a second. Now this menu over here is you can circle through this menu using the scroll wheel. And excuse my camera, it's not doing the full justice of how good this looks. There is a little bit of a refresh rate mismatch, so it looks more HD than what you're seeing here. This is your following distance, and of course the following distance could be changed using the scroll wheel. And then your tire pressure, so you can just have that screen pop up while you're driving. Again, setup, we can go back to CarPlay. There's Android Auto, there's theme, and then there's setup. So the setup is, of course, just your settings, what you want to change. And we have talked about this: English, the time zone, the temperature, hour system, the US speed limit, that's the white speed limit, tire pressure, car model, day and night, brightness, and then the plat switch. So the day and night, we have set that to night. You can also do it as follow, but that really means at a certain time it just goes from night to day. It doesn't follow the car. But if we hit that to return, we get back to this screen. And as I said, like, you can scroll to this is really cool that you can go between different menu items just straight over here, and you can show anything that you want to show. So if we go back, and that is when we press on this CarPlay, is you got your CarPlay. Again, the camera is not doing it justice. The CarPlay looks a lot better than what you're seeing here, and we'll go in detail about how to connect to CarPlay. But this is pretty cool. That's the CarPlay. And then if we exit, let's go through different menu items here. So if we go to the next item, which would be the theme over here. So if we go to theme, there are 3 different themes that show up. This is theme number 1. This is theme number 2. So this is what the second theme looks like. Same deal. You got your menus popping over here. It just has this car icon here, and there is the current speed that's shown here. Energy bar, odometer, everything stays the same. You just change this menu, very simplistic, miles per hour speed here. I'm gonna have them change that to mph in capital instead of having mp/h. I'm gonna have them change that. But as you can see, it does all of this right here, which is pretty cool. And then you have got the car in the middle. Again, the indicator, the light, the brake, everything shows up here. So that's your UI number 2. Now, if we go back to a different UI here, the theme, over here, here's the UI number 3, and the menu items are in the very middle there for the UI number 3, and you can see the settings, the following distance, the CarPlay, everything in the very middle. The speed limit shows up here, the horsepower, and then the speed shows up here. I'm gonna have them change again this to mph instead of mp/h, but that is the 3 UIs, and again the top and the bottom stays the same. Now those were all night modes. Let's do the day mode, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So this is the day mode UI. My camera is not doing a full justice. This looks a lot better than what it looks on the camera here, but it's the same idea. Nothing changes. It's just wider background over here. So that is day mode 1. Let's go to UI number 2 in day mode. Very minimalist looking UI over here. You got your speed, and then just the car over there. And then if we go to UI number 3, this is a very futuristic looking UI, and then I can slide through all of this. So this is pretty cool. If you just want this in the very middle, you can just have that, whatever you want to see in the middle. I wish it had a little mini CarPlay right here in the middle, but it doesn't do that. If we press on the CarPlay, it just takes us to the actual CarPlay screen. So really cool stuff. Those are all the UIs, and let's take this on a road, and then let's start driving, and then show you what it looks like while driving. All right, let's go ahead and connect to CarPlay, and then we'll connect to Android Auto. So we have got iPhone 7 Plus over here, and that's what we're going to be connecting to. So if I press right on the scroll wheel, it says that CarKit 90D0, and then pairing code is 0000. So that's the 4 zeros for the pairing code. So we're going to go ahead and connect to this one, and then we're going to pair. Let's see if it asks for a code. We're going to allow it, and it should ask for if we want to use CarPlay. So use CarPlay. There you go. Now we should be good to go. Now this is popping up with CarPlay. That was super quick, and now we got a CarPlay over here, which looks really nice. My camera is not doing the justice here too much of how good this looks, but here you go. Full on CarPlay over here. All right, now let's do the Android Auto setup. Again, it's the same deal over here. If we scroll to Android Auto, we click on it, it'll just tell us CarLink, that device that we need to connect to. So what we're going to do is hit pair a new device, and the Bluetooth device will pop up. So CarLink over here, and it's pairing. We're going to pair, allow, and that should do it. So now if we wait for just a little bit, the Android Auto should pop up, and we should have Android Auto right here. It's just connecting right now. And there you go. Continue on the car screen. So we'll do OK, continue. And now the Android Auto is going to be connected. So there you go. It's popping up. We got Android Auto. There you go. So that was super easy, super quick. All you do is connect to Bluetooth, and for both CarPlay and Android Auto, it's ready to go. So here is Waze, and it's super interactive in real time. As you see, it pops up. Now if I stop it, that also goes away from Waze. There is Google Map on our phone as well as the screen, and if I put an address, put the direction, as you see, it pops up right here. If I hit go, it navigates. It's real time, no lag over here. Super good. This is super accurate. So instead of going straight, let's make a right here, and then let's see how quickly it realizes that we made a right. So it rerouted us very quickly. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. It updates quickly, and it follows. It's real-time tracking. This is going to be as good as your phone. So however your phone is reacting to these changes, this is doing the same thing. So we're going to make a right here instead of going straight. Let's see how quickly it'll, yeah, it recognized that super quickly. So See, there is no lag here. So this is driving with the third UI, and if we press on CarPlay, of course the CarPlay pops up. We can go to Waze. There you go. And we can even use the scroll wheel to make the controls, so you don't have to necessarily have the touch screen. You can fully control this using the scroll wheel. We're going to try the autopilot indicator. Wow, so you see a Tesla-like autopilot indicator, and then the road turned blue, so indicating that the autopilot is turned on. And let's see if the nag comes up in basic autopilot here. Yeah, so the nag came up too. That is amazing, and the nag went away. And once we step on the brake, the autopilot goes away. The autopilot sign now works with FSD beta. That was not the case with version 1. You can also now see the nag in FSD. The only time we didn't get the autopilot blue light was when we are using navigate on autopilot feature, which comes with enhanced autopilot. And you still see the gray autopilot active sign, but not the blue indicator. And I've already reported this to TMA. The blind spot detection works great as before. As long as Tesla shows there is a car in the blind spot, this display will show it in bright big red. This is really useful to see those alerts directly in front of the view rather than in the side screen. Right now, this is of course 0, so we have turned everything off and there's no air coming through, and that's what you see. Now let me do 5, so this is half of the speed, and you start feeling the air come through. If you go over here, you're going to feel a lot more, of course, here too, and here. So as you see, the air that is coming through, this device is not really blocking it, because as much air that you see here, you're also seeing a pretty strong air over here and here. Now here it decreases a little bit more, but not a significant change at 5. Like, you're still getting that airflow, and I'm still feeling the air going to my face. Now keep in mind, I could also adjust this steering wheel so that this can go up or down and adjust accordingly. So that's the beauty of this display, is that it allows us to do that. It allows us to change this so that we can get more air, less air, depending on where we put this at. Now let's blast this. So let's go to the AC. This is 8, and of course at that state you're going to see a lot of air come through to you, and as we get closer, this is going to move a lot more, and that is at 8. This is not at 10, this is at 8, and closer here. See, even after the display, you see a lot. Of course here you see a lot more, so there's a lot coming. And now let me split the flow. So let me make the flow kind of go from both directions, come to the front, and you get a lot here, here, down here. Okay, now let's blast this to 10. So that's the maximum air, and you can clearly tell that there's a lot of airflow coming here. As we get closer, of course, look, the airflow is super strong. Even after the screen over here, the airflow is really strong because the air is coming from up top here and here, of course. So basically this is what you would get if the screen wasn't here. So it does block a little bit of airflow, just keep that in mind. There's no denying about that, but pretty decent. All right, let's talk about my verdict. Let's start with my likes, and then we'll move on to my dislike, like always. First of all, TMA delivered on their promise. And I had said that in the beginning, the review of the first generation unit just a few months ago, about, hey, they said that they were going to upgrade it. They're going to make the Carplay retrofit it so that you don't have to mess with any of those wirings. You can just keep everything intact and just replace the screen or the circuit board. So now you can get a Carplay and Android Auto by just replacing a circuit board. You just have to remove 5 screws, and that is it. Very, very simple upgrade. They made it a super modular design. So thank you, TMA, for not letting us down, that you actually delivered on your promise on an accelerated time frame. This also gives me confidence that they are going to continuously improve this system so that they are going to continuously adding new software. They might make a hardware modular. Maybe we want to replace this screen with a bigger screen in the future, and they will make that a modular system, the circuit board design. As long as we don't have to rewire everything, the update becomes much easier. It's like building your own PC and then a new graphic card come around, and rather than buying a new PC, we're just upgrading that graphic card to make our computer work faster and better. And that's exactly the case here. They made this modular. They allowed us to upgrade the hardware without changing everything. Now on to some of my dislikes about the display. Even though they worked on the bezel size, there is still some wide bezels on the display, so I would recommend TMA to figure that out so that it becomes narrower in the future. There are still a little bit of a confusion on when that front camera turns on. Looks like it turns on when you put the camera on the drive. Automatically it turns on for a certain amount of speed, 20 miles per hour, and it goes away. I hope that they also figured it out so that as long as the speed is super low, so when you are coming into the garage and you are slowing down, the camera turns on, or some other mechanisms to make that work would be for future consideration. I also would like to see more features embedded within this device, such as potentially addition of the side repeater cameras. And they already told me that that's not possible with the existing Tesla system, but perhaps they can create new cameras that go on the side mirror, which we would just install on the side mirrors, and then every time you turn on the blinker, those cameras get powered, and then this display just shows that camera feed on the side. So that would be a future suggestion. And I know they have some amazing engineers working on their team making this work. So I hope that they listen to the feedback as well, because I think that's the only thing missing after that is showing that side repeater cameras on the screen. All the other features that we have requested, the front camera, Android Auto, CarPlay, the blind spot detection, all of those are already integrated here. And then that brings me to my last feedback for TMA is to continuously improve the UI. Perhaps seek feedback from customers on what exactly they want to see, which they did a good job of adding some of the things. They deleted that redundant feed, all because of your feedback on the comment section. They're reading through comment section. So hopefully they continuously make the UIs better. There is a huge difference, huge improvement from the first generation to this UI, and I hope they continuously make that upgrade to match Tesla's UI in the future. So enough of me talking about this display. What are your thoughts about this instrument cluster display? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What other features would you like incorporated on this display in the future versions? Hopefully a modular design or at least a software upgrade. Please let me know in the comment section below. As I said, TMA is monitoring the comment section, so they have the feedback, and as well as I am passing on this feedback to TMA so that they can make those changes. Thank you very much for your time. I'll be back again with another Tesla accessory.